Hi everyone, welcome to the second session of the day. We have Jaikumar Balasubramanian. He will be speaking on track and sync Microsoft Graph API changes in real time using Delta Query. Um, Jaikumar, welcome to my M365 Philly virtual event. The stage is all yours now.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Nishan. So, hi everyone. So, welcome to the event for M3 Strive Philly Visual. So, thanks to the sponsors for organizing this great event even in this COVID. So, let's get on to the session. So, this is going to be our topic for today, like track and sync the Microsoft Graph data changes in real time using the Delta query. So Delta query, so we'll get Delta query will be something new to use, and most of the people like it's a recent trend that we are getting into Microsoft Graph to track the changes. So we'll get into detail what are the things that we can do and what is the limitations, and also at the end we'll see some examples, demos as well. So myself, as Nishan said, I'm Jay Kumar. I'm working as a product lead at Supply and an MCT and C Sharp MEP and MCSD. Let's get into it. Okay. So today we are going to see what is delta query and how the actual data flow is, and how it differs from the regular query that we are making to get the data from the Microsoft Graph, and what is the difference, how the data flow will be, and what are the limitations in the query parameters that we usually pass, and how the data will be represented in the delta query, like what kind of format of data that we'll be receiving, and in what are the supported resources that we can use this delta query, because in graph there are a lot of resources, and we will see what are the resources that we can use, and the general limitations that is available, and some demos and use cases. As you know, the title itself says that we are going to track the data in real time. We are not going to fetch the entire data and fetch it to keep it sync. We are not going to call the entire data and looping through all the logics, and we are not going to do all these steps because Delta Query makes this all the process simple for us. So here, without pulling the entire target resource, you should be able to get only the affected data. Either it is a new resource, or anything is updated, or anything is deleted. So basically, to keep your data sync, what you need what are the data that are newly created. For example, if there is a 10 users available, and suppose tomorrow you want to open your user dashboard, and if you want to see the latest users available, in general what we will do, whenever you open up your next the dashboard in the second day, we'll be making a user call to the user request, so that we get all the users and we'll get it synced. But once we get the delta query, there is no need for that. That entire approach is going to change. So here what we will do is, we just make a delta query. Initially we will make a delta query on our first day, and when you come to the application second time, we will just make a call with the delta token that we have received earlier, so that it returns if there is any new resource already created, or if there is any updated item, or if there is any deleted. So we get all the changes right away. So the major advantage that we see here is, so you no need to crawl the entire source of data. And for example, if there is around 100 500 users, you no need to crawl the entire data and check each and everything, whether this is a new one, or it is an updated, or it is a deleted. So this makes our regular day-to-day life easier. So this is how the data flow will be there. So as I said, now we will be doing like, for example, this delta query, everything is for get request. So in current scenario, we will be doing like a get request, either it is a users to get the users from the Microsoft Graph, or to get in group related information, or whatever. We make a get request, and there is two steps is there, like for example, if there is any next data to join, like if there is any bulk amount of data, for example, your graph resource can return only specific data. For example, if there is 500 amount of data, then graph may return only 100 data in the first page. Then we will be getting a next link in our response that we are receiving. So we need to use that next link to get the next set of other data, like the second page data, third page, or fourth page, or fifth page. We need to make all these requests at the end of the request. If there is no data to return, for example, if you reach our fifth page out of the final data, at that case we'll be receiving a delta query, delta link. So that delta link we can use in if we making any further request to get the data to keep it sync, we can use the delta link. So which will have our all the track record, like how many pages have returned and what are the params that we have passed. Everything will be encrypted in the delta link. We just need to pass the delta link again to get the updated data. Suppose if there is no data available, for example, there is only one page of data, there is no following data available, we will be getting a delta link in our response data that we are receiving. So this is how it works. Suppose we can in the second scenario we can skip that next link. So basically delta query, it is slightly different from what we are doing right now. Like for example, if you are getting going to get a users, you'll be using like graph.microsoft.com/users. But now here there is one more additional URL param will be appended, like called /delta, and the meta type for this will be like microsoft.graph.delta. So the scenario, the delta pattern that I have, delta query pattern that we have seen right now, it's you need to write the request, and in the response you'll be getting delta link, or it's the next link. But what if you want to directly get the delta link? That's an option for that, available for that also. Whenever you make a query, you just need to mention that in your OData param, you just need to mention the delta token equal to latest. So which will return you the direct delta link. That is, you no need to wait for any of the next link or whatever the stuff. So you just directly get the latest delta link and we can make the progress. When coming to delta query, we need to consider state tokens. That's what we have seen right now, state tokens. Next link, if we get any next link, then there will be a skip token which will be returned in the next link. They'll be pausing for the page, which page it should return. And if we get the delta link, there will be delta token available. We need to pass the delta token in the subsequent request that we are making to get the delta request response. And the major advantage with these delta tokens and state tokens like delta and skip token is whatever the params that you give in initial request. For example, if you are applying any filters, like you want to select only this data, or you want to select top 10 items, or you want to select only specific parameters, everything will be maintained in the state of these tokens. So you no need to pass these params like either a select or top or whatever. You no need to pass it in the subsequent request that you are passing along with the delta token, because which is already maintained within the delta token. Now there coming to the params, there are some limitations in the query parameters. Since it's a new thing that is being implemented, there is some limitations available. In general, order by, suppose if you are using any order by items, so there is no assurance that it will return only the updated items, or it will return only the new items. Sometimes it may return the same updated item. So we need to make sure that we are having enough logic to update it and we don't miss any data. And for example, top 10, if you are getting it, it completely depends on what kind of resource that you are accessing, and what are the changes that are made in the resources that we are accessing. It doesn't depend on your initial request, and it depends on what changes that is being made in the specific resource that we are accessing. And coming specifically to the user and group, as I said, there are only this delta query is applied only to specific users, group resources in Microsoft Graph, like users and groups. There is a separate limits. For example, you cannot expand or you cannot use the top param, or you cannot use the order by. These all parameters are not supported in the delta query. That's how we have highlighted here, as I said here. Now coming to the select, if we are using since users and groups and all, it will return more properties. Suppose if you want to go with only specific properties, like for example, if you take user and you want to get only the display name or the first name, or the last name, in your subsequent call with the delta token, you will be able to track only the parameters that are being used in your initial request. For example, if you made a select query with first name, last name, and display name, if there is any changes made in your email or in your office location or in your department or in your manager or any property that is related to user, you will not receive it in your Delta token. The thing is, as I said, it will be maintained in the state. So what are the parameters that you have selected in your initial request that will be available in your following Delta token also. And coming to filters, suppose if you are applying any filters based on the ID scope, for example, if you are choosing an group and you want to get only two groups by specifying ID in the filters, in your subsequent Delta token, you will be able to get the updates for both the groups. There is no limit that you will be getting only the one group update. Suppose if we are crawling for the entire group's resource, obviously in your Delta token, you will be get the updates for all the groups. But in case if you are able to scope the limit to only specific groups, like if you are getting only two groups in the filter, then in your following Delta token, you should be able to get the updates only for those two groups. That's one power of this params. Yeah. Coming to resource representation. So, as I said, there are three scenarios where we can capture these delta changes, like new instances, or either it can be any updated instances. If it is a new instances, you'll be getting it in a standard representation with all the properties what based on your query param that you have given. Either it's a first, if you choose on all the update select, you have not mentioned anything in the select param, then you will be getting all the values like first name, last name, display name, job title, manager, everything like a complete new instance. You will get it. Suppose if it is an updated instance, and you will be receiving the updated properties for sure, and if there is any new property added, that will also get returned to you, and it won't return all the params. That's another advantage here. And the third action is like in basically for every resource, the delete is one other concept, right? So in deleting, you will receive what data is deleted with the with a tag node called @removed. You will get this @removed as a object in your response API, graph API response, whatever the resource. And to you need to note here that in the @removed, you will be having a reason as well. This will be the format that you will be getting in a response if any specific resource is removed from your graph resource. For example, if your date resource item is deleted, and if it is in your recycle bin, in most of the cases, you should be able to restore your resources in the graph or in the Office 365. Either it can be in the recycle bin for the next 30 days or 45 days or based on the configuration. So if it is able to restore, then you will get the reason as a change. Suppose if you are not able to restore the deleted item, then you will get the reason as a deleted. So in that case, you are not able to restore it. It is deleted and we cannot recover it. That's the purpose that Delta query is returning the reason for this deleted reason. Why it is deleted. So now coming to the resources that what are this Delta query supported, it is limited because it's been implemented, not implemented for all the resources. And if you see, most of the resources are in preview in the sense they are currently being under development and it is not completely available for public. But still, this Delta query is applicable for maximum of the resources like applications which will be using in the major scenarios like groups, users, directory roles, and even the service principals, messages in a folder in the sense. So you'll be able to access the mail contents. If there is any inbox items or deleted items, that thing also you should be able to sync, and mail folders will be there. Like chat messages in channels, nowadays Teams getting boom like anything, like. So if you want to integrate anything using the Microsoft Teams, and you want to do anything with sync your data in your third-party system or the system that you are building, you can keep thinking of this Delta query, because keeping the messages in the sync is a big headache, right? So there will be a lot of data. Like if you want to keep the messages in sync, you need to keep on tracking and you need to look through everything, and then you need to implement some custom logics and all. But with the help of Delta query, you don't need to worry about anything. First, initially you made a request and you get the all your messages in the initial request, then you can use the Delta query to get the updates. And directory objects, so most of the things are in preview. Once all these get implemented, Delta query will also be implemented for these messages for sure. We'll be seeing a demo, couple of full demos for this thing, so you can see the data in real time, how the Delta query works. Like coming here are some other limitations with the Delta query. Like for example, if your data property is stored outside the organization, like for example, if you are, for example, if you take user profile data, there is some property data that is stored directly in SharePoint Online, and some properties are directly stored in Azure Active Directory. So here there are maintained two different data stores to maintain a single user. So in this case, the main data store is Azure Active Directory, and SharePoint Online is the additional one. So the properties that are being maintained in the SharePoint Online, like either your department related, or if it is synced over there, or if it is any other your SharePoint related custom property, that will not be able to track in your Delta query. It is possible to track only from your main Delta store. And next, like navigation properties. Navigation property in sense something like user profile image property, like it is being updated frequently by the user, and it is a navigation property, so that kind of property cannot be tracked. And there will be some process delays, since it is tracking in the real lifetime, that we need to wait for some sync time, but it is not that much delay for all the resources. Maybe you can face some fraction of the seconds in a delay, like maybe 10 to 15-second delay will be there, but still it is helpful, right? So you don't need to crawl the entire data source and to keep your data sync. And again, as I said, this Delta query is being implemented for the recent days, and so it is not available for all the clouds. Currently, it is supported with the Microsoft's public cloud, and it is also available in Microsoft Apps China, which is applied via 21 ViaNet. And one other thing is, as I said in the before, like it is all happening with the help of the state tokens. Like if it is a next token, there will be we'll be getting a skip token, and if it is a Delta query, we'll be getting our Delta token. So these tokens are valid. Tokens are valid only for specific time period, right? We cannot keep the token active forever, right? That will breach the security. But since this is just to keep the tracker in this, it is not like a regular access token, so you don't need to worry that it will expire in an hour, it will expire in a 6 hour or 12 hour, like that. We have enough time limit for this. Like most of the resources for the token will get expired only after 7 days, or in some of the resources the token will expire after 15 days. So it is completely depend on what kind of resource that you are using. So in that case, if you have made your initial user sync data for the first day, for example, you're building an application, you are synced your user data for the first day, and for the next 7 days you can use the same token, and you can keep on refreshing whether the user is been any new user created or not, like that, and the token will remain same. Okay, here is a sample data request. Like for example, this is how the Delta query works. Like which is a normal resource. For example, if you are going to access the users, which is a normal endpoint which we are using regularly now, and additionally we need to add URL. Additionally, we need to change the URL like /delta, nothing else. This is only change that you are going to make if you are going to use the Delta query. Now, if you see in the response, you get your actual values and you get your Delta link in the background. Like you see Delta link. In your next subsequent records, you just need to pass this Delta link with the same /delta. And if there is any skip token available, it will be maintained, or if it is in a Delta token, it will be also added here. So this is how the Delta query works. Now let's see some demo in here so that you get to understand like how the Delta query works in real time. I think I will cut and share the screen again. Yeah. Can you able to see my screen? Yeah. Are you able to see my screen? Yeah. Fine. Now let me open up my tenant which I have already created. For example, so here we are going to see how the Delta query works in a user perspective, which we are seeing right now. Now, if you see, this is a regular user request, like which will. So this is a just to update. So this is a graphs new layer. So where you can see your permissions granted, what are the permissions that you need to grant, and you can consent it right away from here. And if you want to get your access token, you should be able to get it right away from here. Now let me sign in using my tenant which I have already created. Yeah, I've just logged into one of my test tenant which I'm using. Since this is a tenant administrator for this account, I have granted all the permissions. Like you can concern here. For example, if I going to use the any other resource which I have not consented. For example, let me go with planner. I guess planner. Yeah. Here you get in your new Microsoft Graph, you should be able to consent it right away from here, which is an consent required. So this is one other advantage. You can check all everything for the Microsoft Graph in a single window. You don't need to write even a single piece of code. You get everything right away from here. What is the request header, what permission you need, and what is your access token, and even some sample code snippet also available here. Either it is C# or JavaScript or whatever the stuff that we are using. Now let's see the real-time example for users. For example, I'm going to get all the users in my tenant. For example, those for that the endpoint will be like in normal case the endpoint will be like /users. Yeah. So I'll be getting like what are the how many users are available. I will get the complete data. Now if I want to use the delta. Now in this case, suppose if I want to add suppose if I want to add one more user. Previously, now we need to call this resource again to get our data. For example, if I'm going to add one more resource here, this is an admin page where I'm adding one user. For example, user 3. Yeah, that's it. Now I have added one resource. Now suppose if I'm maintaining this user data in my local store, any like database, or if any of my storage in my application, what I will do now? Now I need to go on crawl these resources again, or I need to apply some filter, but I cannot apply filter since I don't know what is the name. So I need to go on crawl this entire resource. Now I will be getting my newly added resource. Suppose in this case, if I'm using a Delta query, in the Delta, I have got a next link here. Suppose so, as I said, as per the data flow, we will be getting a next link. Uh, Now, in my next request, subsequent request, I will be using this next link. Now, if you say I got the Delta link, so as per our flow, just to make sure that you can understand. So first we made our get request, and in the response back we get our next link, and we from our next link that we have received here, we just made another request where we get our delta link. So let's see how this delta link can bring in our additional data. I have copied this delta link and just duplicating this Graph Explorer. Now I'm going to use my delta token. If you see here in the delta query, we are adding a param called delta token. And if, yeah, now let me raise a request. Now there is no value created because there is no changes made in my user resource. Now let me go ahead and add one user. User 4. Now I have added one of the user here. Now let's raise the same request. I think I need to use the updated delta token from this one. The tokens will be keep on changing, so we need whatever the request that you made, based on you need to use the latest delta token in your next request. Previously I have made mistakes, so now this is my latest request. I got this delta token. Now let me put it here. I think I need to add the user again. Yeah, now we have added the one more user. Yeah, we got the changes. So I guess the previously we faced time issue, which is one of our limitation in our slide, like, yeah, processing delays. If you have noticed in my previous request, we haven't received this user 4, but that may be because of the processing delay. That there won't be much delay, but there will be some delay like 10 to 15 seconds. Now if you see in our latest request, we have received only the user 4 and user 5. We have not received all the entire thing, and you see it is a new entity. That's why we are able to get all the updated values, like display complete value of the users that we will get for the new entity, display name, given name, surname. And in our previous request, sorry, in our first request, we have received only 3 users. Now let's see how it works for the updated entity. For example, I'm just going to update this here. Before that, let's take the delta link from this one, so we get the latest delta link. I have copied this delta link, and again I'm duplicating. Just pasted the latest delta link here. Before making a request, let's do some change here. Okay, let's not change the username. Let me change some simple property like either a first name or some contact information. For example, I'm changing it to user 4. From a number to this text. Now I'm going to change this. Yeah, my changes have been saved. Now here I have my latest delta token that I have copied. Now let's run this query. You see, now I have received only the latest thing that I have changed. It have not written all the users. It returned only just the user, the display name, given name, and surname, and it returned only the one record on which that I have made the change. Now let's see how this deleting item works in this same scenario. For example, I'm going to delete the same user, and before that again let me copy the latest delta token. Oops, sorry. I have copied the latest Delta token. Now let me duplicate it again so that we can keep the track and we can review it once again. I pasted this. Now let me delete the same user. For example, this user 4. I'm going to delete it. If you see, it is mentioned that you can restore the deleted users and recover the data except for calendar and in next 30 days. That means this user is recoverable. So as I said, you will get and remove parameter in your request. Yeah, I have deleted this user. Now let's see how this Delta query behaves here. Is it? I think it takes some time delay. Let's try the request again. Yeah, got it. If you see, I have deleted the record from this user and I got it with a parameter called @removed and I have got the reason as well. Reason is changed. Why we got the reason as changed is it is always restorable from the deleted user section. That's why we get it as changed. And one more thing, it will not track the changes that you have made previously. For example, here is one other user called user3 which I have deleted earlier before I start the session or before I start preparing the demo, but I have received only one data. That means based by using this ID I have not because this delta request is initiated after deleting this item. That's why we are not able to get this, and still it is restorable. That's why we are able to the reason we got it as change. Now let's delete it completely from the recycle bin as well. I guess it will track that also. Okay, I think we don't have an option to delete it from here. Okay, I think user resource don't have an option. Some user resource don't have option like that. Now now if you see, if you have written all the values like display name, given name, surname, user principal, IE, or if you have done any other property, it should have written for you all this. But as I said, if we are going to use any OData filter property, like for example, I'm going to use this, crawl this again for you like delta, and I am going to use some select property. Which property that we can use, like, okay, let's go with display name. Suppose if I want to select only display name, this is my initial delta request. For all this process, the important thing is about what we raise in the initial request. For example, I'm raising this request to get only the display names. I got all the active users display names here, and if you see in this also we get the reason as changed. Now we have got the next link as well. In this next link I got the delta link, so this is our third call. Now let's have this delta link be ready. Now let me go and change some value from here. So if you remember, we have tracked the we have used the property to select the user for display name. Now let me change the display name for this user 2, and this one also user 2. Display name, first name is also updated, second name is also updated, and add some title, product lead. Done. Changes were done. Now let's see this. Where I have pasted, sorry, I think this is the one. If you see, I get only the display name. even though I have updated the first name and last name in the update request, I have not received this. That's why we have already seen in our slide. So whatever the Delta query is completely based on your initial request. We have requested to select only the display name. So in this internal token that is being maintained. But if you see in the next call which I made, I have not mentioned anything like I need only the select this display name. I have not mentioned anything. But even in this delta token also I have not mentioned anything, but it is being tracked and maintained in this token internally by Microsoft Graph. That's why we are able to get only this updated values. So the major advantage here with this is whatever the changes that you have made, you can track and be on real-time sync. You don't need to crawl the entire resource, and you don't need to do everything from the beginning, so which will affect your performance, right? So now with this delta query approach, our performance is going to improve a lot. Now we'll see another example. So if you see, I have initially made a delta request to get the next link, and then from my next link I have got this delta link, and then from this delta link I'm tracking all the process. This is long process, right, which may again delay your process. Now there is an option for this also. For example, this is my initial request where I'm getting all this display name. Suppose if I directly want to get the delta token for this one, I can do that as well. I guess we have seen this in our slide also. Let me take it from there. Yeah, delta token equal to latest. This is one property that we need to give. Now if you see, you won't be getting any data, but still you will be able to get the delta link directly with this. So we suppose you already have some data and you know that data is already synced. You don't need to make the complete call again. Suppose now I am just going to put this delta link. Let's have it here. Now let me make this call again. I've got the delta link. Now I'm just going to paste it here and let be ready. Now let's go and delete this user, for example the user 5, or let's add the user so you get to know user 6. Yeah, yeah, we got it. So you see I have made it 3 times request since I'm just been opening the graph and I keep on trying. I'm trying in fraction of seconds. It not even taken 10 seconds. That's why we didn't get the data initially. But the thing is it will take some time, maybe but it's not a kind of minutes of time, it is a fraction of time. Now if you see, I have not done any of the initial requests except this getting this delta token. Now I have got my latest data with this though. So that's one other power of this delta query. Now let's see some other real-time example, another example with mail. So for example, if I'm going to let's take now we have seen one example for the message users. Now let's see another example for mail folders. For example, I'm going to get all my mail folders. For example, yeah, this is my inbox folder ID which I'm going to use. So to make the things easier, I have kept everything ready. Yeah. Now I'm going to access the emails in my inbox. Suppose if you are building any system and you are keep on tracking with your email, they have written lot of data. So let me filter it. Yeah. Now I have returned all my emails So I have just selected only subject for to make the demo easy. So now I have got this next link again. Let me close other links. I have got the Delta link as well. Keep this ready. Now let's go and send one email from my account. Just sending this. I got sent one email now. You see, I got the message, and it just written only one record. It have not written all my records. So if you see in my previous records, I have made a request. It written these many records, and now I have got only the updated content. That's how we can keep on syncing with our real-time data, whether it is a newly added item or it is an updated item or it is a deleted item. Whatever the thing, we can keep on tracking. So we know it completely going to improve your performance, and you can change whatever the existing process or any other business implementation. You can try to think of changing that so that you can make the thing simpler. Let's see some real-time use case for this scenario for the Teams message. Now we have covered a resource for users and messages. Yeah, so this is some real-time use case. So, suppose if you have an application to sync your Teams messages in any other application, earlier approach, what we'll be doing, you can be use any other approach, but the one I'm considering is we can get this done by using the webhooks. I guess most of them know about webhooks, which is a part of Microsoft Teams. So which acts something like a bot. It is a custom app. You can upload your custom app. This is how the process works. Like you need to create a custom app like a webhook, and you need to add it inside your Microsoft Teams, and your team has to include that. And whenever you send a message in Microsoft Teams, you need to make sure that you have tagged that webhook like with the at mentioning. Like for example, you have created a webhook in the name like sync team message. You need to send the message by mentioning like at sync team message. Then only the webhook will be able to recognize your input, and it can track the message, and it can send it to your webhook. Then you need to compare the existing data, and you need to sync and add it. So this is how the earlier approach works. But now after this Delta query comes, we don't need to do all this complicated process, because this earlier approach depends on a lot of things. Like you need to deploy it in Teams, and you need to depend on the team owner, and you need to depend on the Teams administrator. Like that, you need to depend on a lot of resources and a lot of people. But after this Delta query approach, there is nothing to deal with any of the Teams related stuff. It's only about granting the permission to access the Teams resource for Graph API, either it is Azure AD app through Azure AD app. What here we will do is we just simply make a API call. This is a normal REST API call as you see in the graph. Get a get request, and you receive the Delta get request, and you keep the messages in your data store for Teams messages somewhere in your data store based on your application. And in your initial request, you will be getting the Delta token. In your upcoming request, you just pass the Delta token and get the real-time data. You no need to depend on anything. In your earlier approach, if the user forgot to mention this webhook mentioning, you will not be able to track the use message. You may miss that message because it depends on the current user, right? We are not sure that every user will be keep on tracking the keep on using that at mentioning webhook so to send the data. But with this Delta query approach, we have achieved many things. Like we have excluded the dependencies on the team owner and team administrators like that, and we have excluded the performance issues like You don't need to depend on multiple systems. With a single system, single API, you can do everything, and you can keep everything in the real time. And you have excluded the user errors, like sending the messages without mentioning that webhooks concept. Now it is all under your control. You don't need to depend on any of them. So this is one other advantage that we have in Delta Query. So I guess I have covered the things that I have planned to show you today. So basically, with this Delta Query, major advantage is you should be able to sync your data, local data to in real time, like how the graph data maintains, and you can now improve the performance, and you can change the implementation approach and make things easier. Any other questions? So this is my contact. Like you can reach me out in Twitter or email and LinkedIn. So I'll be mostly available in all the scenarios, all the medias.